Hello, welcome to this Joyful Living series. Wherever God has placed you at the moment is for a purpose. And whatever God has placed in your hand is meant to fulfill a purpose. When you understand and make good use of it, then it can take you to something great. All you need to do is to look around you, see what is available to you, reflect on the opportunities, the challenges, possibilities, and possible solutions. Get involved with the right purpose to be part of the solution and to be of service to God and humanity. You will then realize that you will begin to see the situation quite differently, and you will be open to lots of inspirations. God is continually doing new things. And you know what is more interesting? God is doing new things in and through you. That's why Jesus said to his disciples, "The work I do, you shall do." So you are a co-creator. The central message here is that you are meant to be positively active. Otherwise, nothing happens. There is much going on in life, and there is much to which we are called to do something as partners and co-workers with God. Being creative is part of the nature we were given at creation and redeemed by Jesus on the cross of Calvary. That is why we are different from all other creatures. Whenever God calls you to action in a particular way, there is always something in you that He wants to take to a higher level for His service, your own benefits, and the good of humanity. There is so much God has deposited in you in terms of gifts or talents, which you may not know their true value. There are also things, situations, and people around you you may not have fully understand how beneficial they could be to you until you are inspired to look at them differently. You might never have thought about the importance of some of the things you have and what you can do with them until you come to realize how crucial they can be in a given situation. Let's take a look at some instances in the scripture. Moses. When God called Moses in the burning bush to go and liberate the Hebrews in Egypt, Moses didn't know how best to present himself before Pharaoh and the people of Israel as an authentic messenger of God. God asked him, "What do you have in your hand?" He had a staff with which he guided the sheep of his flock. God made him see that that simple stick, imbued with the power of God, could do far more than he ever thought. With that staff, Moses could do even greater magic than the magicians of Egypt. It was that staff that turned into a snake that swallowed up those snakes of the Egyptian magicians. It was the same staff that was stretched out over the Red Sea to move the waters of the sea on both sides so that the Israelites could walk through on the dry seabed. It was also that same staff that was hit on the rock for water to gush out for the thirsty Hebrews in the desert. That staff became a symbol of authority that Moses has received from God to be the liberator of his people. From wielding authority over the sheep with the staff, Moses graduated to wielding authority over men and nature. Besides, the experience of shepherding the flock prepared him for the experience of leading the people out of slavery towards the promised land. Just like Jesus said to Peter, I will make you a fisher of men, from catching fish to catching men for God. Now think about David. David was also a shepherd of the flock of his father. He started little with the sheep, guiding them to greener pasture, leading them to the water, and protecting the flock from all that attacks it. That helped him to develop some level of leadership quality. Take some time to reflect on Psalm 23. This Psalm of David reflects the whole qualities of a good shepherd and symbolizes God as the good shepherd. What I want you to note here is how the simple act of shepherding the flock formed David for the great task of leadership and helping us to understand the concept of servant leadership modeled after the example of a good shepherd. When God got David anointed, those qualities he had learned became of service at a very great level. Today, Psalm 23 has become a very popular spiritual song and prayer that helps us to understand the nature of God as caring, providing, protective, and in fact, as the true shepherd of his flock. When you can notice how the simple act of shepherding a flock, something seen as action for the rural, poor people, can develop to something great and even become a spiritual tool for understanding and relating with God, then you can understand that simple things around you can as well have greater values when you reflect on them and leave yourself open for inspiration. So build up yourself so that when opportunities come, you can grab them and become more efficient. Make daily efforts to improve on yourself, to improve on whatever you have at the moment, your talents and your gifts. You may never know where your effort today may take you tomorrow. Never stop improving on something. Nothing good comes easily. So set your eyes on the goal and walk the process. The process is part of the goal. Do not wait for the end. Enjoy every step on the way as you walk towards your goal. The way of the cross is part of the way to glory. Every step and every detail on the way contributes to the final goal. And that is what maximizes your joy at the end. If Moses did not enjoy shepherding the flock, how could he have put up with the stubborn people he led out of Egypt? He learned leadership in the entire process. What he experienced right from the time he fled to Midian taught him humility, endurance, and putting up with people. He also learned to rely on God rather than on himself, because that failed him in Egypt and he had to run away. If David did not fancy defending the sheep against the bear and the lion, how could he have been able to face Goliath and to defend his people against the Philistines? No one gives what he does not have. When the Bible notes that Jesus learned obedience through suffering, it does not mean that he was stubborn, but by taking up the suffering that was not his, he teaches us that the way of the cross leads to glory. Understand this. God will not give you something that you are not able to handle. That is why you will see that God was always testing his prophets, leading them through hardship to show them the need to learn so that they could be able to represent him before the people. And Jesus had to train his own disciples for 3 years. Practice makes perfect. It is through practice that you learn to understand the things in your environment and be able to make good use of them for the glory of God, for your own benefit, and for the good of humanity. May you set out today to take every situation you meet in life seriously as a growing process for the greater events that might unfold in the future for you. Thanks for watching.